Alright folks, my name is Liam Bradley. I'm a graduate from Camberwell College of Arts where I study painting. So today I'm going to run you through just a couple of easy techniques and skills to paint skies, and just how you pick your colours and how to paint a cloud and just create a nice general atmosphere in the landscape. So today I'll be using acrylic paint instead of oil paint. I just prefer to use acrylic paint just because it dries a lot faster, and with water you can just get nice, really good effects with the brushwork when you dilute it. And then I've just got a variation of different sizes of brushes. I've got a really large brush here just to paint, like put my grounds down really fast, just to cover a lot of ground so you don't get any brush marks in the way then. And then we're using some palette knives also. That's just for mainly to mix paints, because I don't think you should use a paintbrush to be mixing paints. You should definitely use palette knives instead. And then for maybe some effects with the clouds, we can use the palette knife to make it quite abstract and interesting looking. And also as well, I've got a rag with me always to clean the brush as you work all the time, when you use some water to clean. I'm just going to lay out our palette, and I'm going to put out all the blue colours first, because I would like to paint just a nice bright blue sky today with a couple of a summer theme with just some nice bright white clouds. So here we have brilliant blue, titanium white, ultramarine blue, and cobalt blue as well. So first we'll take a cobalt blue, lay it down, and mix it in with a little bit of ultramarine blue. Just to get a really nice, really nice thick blue colour. And then we're going to mix it now with titanium white just to bring out the nice morning sky. See, sometimes it takes a while just to kind of get the right colour that you want, you know. A bit more white just to brighten it up a little bit more. So we're going to start off using this Daler Rowney Graduate Extra Large brush, size 50. So it's just a really huge brush just for you to get your colour down straight away and cover the entire canvas first. So just with a little bit of your blue that you've mixed and a fair bit of water, you're just going to create your drawing just really fast. and just spread out the colour easily across the canvas. Okay, so I'm just going to add more titanium white now into the mixture, as I think it's just still a bit too blue. I just again cover the entire canvas with this colour. Again, you don't have to be too precious in your brush marks, again, because you blend on your white on top of the blue. You can just get nice brush strokes as well, which kind of gives the illusion of just small whiffs of cloud in the background, just to give a bit of extra depth into the sky. So here, I'm quite happy with how the blue turned out. So now to frame the composition of the sky more, I'm going to add more white into this lower section. And with that, so just put a little bit of white on your brush, dip it in the water, and just kind of throw it into the bottom of the painting. And just spread out the paint easily. And blend it nicely so it seamlessly blends into the blue at the top of the photo. Just a bit more white again if you run out. Again, you want the bottom of the painting to be more white, and then as you gradually move up the canvas, it just turns into blue. Again, this is just a structural technique, just to give the painting just more tight composition rather than just one flat blue colour. Basically, just makes it a bit more exciting and kind of less boring, basically. I'm doing this with a slightly smaller brush because I'm covering a bit less ground, and now I want a bit more choppiness with the paint onto the canvas, just to kind of give a bit of like more of a dynamic atmosphere into the sky. And every time you apply the white paint, always dip it into the water with the paint on the paintbrush. I just can easily, it's just because you can easily spread out the paint down on top of the blue beneath on your blue ground. So now I'm moving I'm moving with the brush now slightly up higher to the canvas and just kind of adding in just small whiffs here and there, just to give the illusion of just a whiff of cloud just in the background again, just to add more depth. Just prior to the next step when we're going to actually start composing clouds into the foreground more. So now I'm just going to add a tiny bit more blue again back into the painting. Again with more water, always using water. Again, I think the essential technique to this process is really just don't be afraid to really like attack the canvas with a brush, and you don't have to be delicate or gentle with it. Just really, again, just attack it with the brush, honestly. Just use broad brush strokes. So with this medium-sized brush, it's completely dry. What you're going to do now, whilst the canvas is still quite slightly wet, just go over the top of it and blend in the colours a bit more. Because I think just to let it make, just so it's less boxy looking, and just make it a bit more fluid, the way a sky would look in real life. It's just essential to have it with a dry brush, just to blend it ever so slightly. Okay, so now that the foreground is ready and dry, we're just going to now, again with a bit of white, titanium white and some water, we're just going to start to kind of compose a couple of clouds. So we're going to start off on the edge of the canvas and work our way in. And just kind of apply random brush strokes and stuff like that. You can sort of add and take away and really just kind of have fun with your shapes, how it works. We're going to use a bit more water to kind of blend these strokes out a bit more. Again, it's just all in your imagination how you're going to compose these shapes. So now gradually you use less water and start bringing in more paint, and just kind of set the paint on top of it and just to get some nice textural element to your work, you know. I'll bring another cloud down here at the bottom. Just at the minute we're just making big large shapes. Again, you don't have to be too careful. I'm just going to make it quite a smaller cloud. This is to give a bit more depth into the canvas. Just the illusion that you're actually looking at the sky, hopefully. So what I would do here at this stage is just dry your brush a bit more, just leave it a tiny bit wet, and just work into the clouds now, just with a really fast technique. Just you're blending the cloud enough so that it looks quite seamlessly blended, but you can still see, and it's just the cloud's still breaking up and still looking a bit realistic. And always throughout your process also, just take a step back and kind of look at your painting from a distance just to see if your composition is actually working for you. And if you feel that you've got enough depth in the clouds. Clouds are done now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a small palette knife, and again just using more titanium white, not mixed with anything. Just apply some paint to the knife and then just start just making shapes in the clouds. Again, this is just to add more tone and depth into the clouds. And maybe just make it look more like round looking. Just like flatten out your, with the back of the knife, at the back of the knife, just flatten out the paint along the canvas. Again, with the back of the knife, just press it flat against the canvas so you can just slightly blend the paint into the rest of it. And leave the top of the cloud here, just kind of, just make up your own lines, you know. And don't be afraid just to leave paint like quite thick and texturally on top of the cloud. Again, just to make your picture just more interesting. So that's the top of the cloud done. Again, we'll just add another element and they say halfway into the cloud. Again, just to kind of make it just bouncier and just to add a bit of life into it. I think the palette knife's a great tool to use in this situation, painting clouds, because it leaves quite a lot of breaks. You see all these kind of dots and it's just sort of like holes in the cloud, just to make it a bit more natural looking. It's an effect you can't really get as much with a paintbrush. Again, you can. What's really nice about painting clouds is you just totally open your imagination. Like you could just make up anything that you want, or even if you're painting from life and just look like if you're painting in your back garden, just take inspiration from like literally what's above you. I'm just going to blend this slightly in. Here I'm just going around in a circle motion, again with the palette knife placed flatly against the canvas, and basically what I'm doing is just pushing the paint into the weave of the canvas a bit more. Again, just to kind of make the clouds a bit more round looking and it's nice and textural. After applying paint with your palette knife, just let it sit and dry for, if you're using acrylic, let it dry for like 10 minutes so the paint is like quite tacky. And then with another, just like slightly wet brush. Don't make it like sodden with water, but just like nice and a bit moist. Again, just kind of go in and blend these. Just your kind of messy parts. Just blend it a bit more and make the clouds a bit more fluid looking. And don't lean heavy on the canvas with the brush, just like really nice and soft. And this technique works best when the paint is just like slightly, honestly just like minutes before it's going to completely dry and it's just a bit tacky. And you go on again with a slightly wet brush. And just be quite expressive with your wrist as well. Don't be afraid to just use big motions, even like circular motions or anything, because it all works because it's just clouds. Okay, so one of our last steps again, it's just with a really dry brush. Again, just kind of go over the final layers just to blend in the clouds with the background a bit more, just to make them look a bit softer. So now you get a nice contrast between like the thick jagged lines that you've applied with the palette knife, and then it's just kind of just lovely soft warm sky around the accompaniment. Okay, so one of our final steps is you're going to get your palette knife again, and just with like a small bit of white, again now at the top of the clouds, just for like small highlights, just softly just brush across a bit more white, so as if the sun is above it and it's shining on top of the clouds. Again, this will just make more of the illusion, just make it slightly more realistic looking. And also with a palette knife you can just get an extra textural property within the painting as well. And I would just use the smallest amount of paint and just kind of dab it on and brush it across the cloud. watching, and I hope you all got something out of that, if it's just something to do with the brushwork or the palette knives. But even if you're doing a larger painting in a landscape, if you're painting in Donegal or County Derry, wherever you live, like you can hopefully that you can use one of these techniques within the larger landscape. Okay, so thanks very much for watching again.